Sorry for the delay, dear friends. Sorry for the delay. It is Monday, and it is a hectic fucking Monday coming off of a really horrible weekend here in America. I am Danielle Moodie. I am disgusted. Let me tell you, Wajahat, going through the outline and some of the things that I had missed because I'm trying to spare my emotional well-being. A lot, a lot. How are you, my friend?
It's a very interesting question. How are you in the United States of America? I mean, we survived a snowstorm, which wasn't that bad, but then I think about all the people who are cold and are homeless and all the people who lost power, but we were okay. We had power. Kids are safe. We lost our cat, so I'm sad because our cat has been gone for 4 days, so we have to find Billu, but hopefully
Oh
Billu's alive. But then you
no.
think about, it's one of those situations where when things are so bad, and this is the way I deal with it, is like, well, at least I'm alive. At least I haven't been shot to death. At least my kids are okay. At least, we can, pay our bills. Oh yeah, what about Alex Preddy? He's dead. A 37-year-old registered nurse who spent his life caring for other people. What was his crime? He took out his phone and tried to film ICE thugs terrorizing a white woman. What about Renee Nicole Good? She's a mom. She's a parent like me. Oh yeah, she's dead. Why? Because she was murdered simply for being a woman who got a little bit lippy, and her final words were, "I'm not mad at you, man." What about Keith Porter? He's dead, killed. We don't know how specifically because we don't have the video footage, but another person killed in ICE custody. And then we just found out that Tom Homan, who is concrete in human form, the man who literally was caught in an FBI sting operation. I'm not making this up, folks. Caught in an FBI sting operation, accepting bribes, $50,000 in a kava bag, and then once he was asked about it, said, "I did nothing wrong." Last night there was a glimmer of hope that Republicans, we're going to talk about it, see the growing backlash to what's been happening in Minneapolis. And then Donald Trump kind of teased that he would remove the troops, maybe, kind of. But today we just found out in the morning that Tom Homan, the border czar, who bragged before the election that he would deport citizen children with their with their undocumented parents, he's being sent to Minneapolis because when you want to calm down a tense situation, when you want to pour a water onto a fire, when you want to heal a nation, you send Tom Homan, Danielle, to Minneapolis. So that's how I feel.
Yes, and I also I want to say this. There is other news, and I forgot. Hold on one second. The Republican front runner in the Minnesota governor's race, the Republican front runner has just dropped out. Uh
Wow, I did not see that. That's
and
big.
let me just I'm trying to find the news. I saw
Someone
it.
called him Nazi Elmer Fudd on YouTube. Why disrespect Elmer Fudd that way?
Right. I saw it on another account, and I want to see if I can confirm it. So that is what, and maybe I'm just putting this in wrong, but I will double back, but that is what I
And
saw.
to Daniel's point, which we're going to talk about today, folks, and we
Yeah.
have the receipts, is that on Democracy Ish, on Damn Digest, on the Left Hook, for those who've been following us for several years, we've been saying abolish ICE. We talked about the cruelty and the inhumanity of the immigration system. We talked about on this show, listen, if they can do this against El Salvadorans, Venezuelans, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, Mahmoud Khalil, pro-Palestinian activists, it's only a matter of time until they do it against you, specifically white America. And now we're seeing it in real time. And in less than a week, literally the day after Alex Preddy was murdered, the polls, which will show you, remarkable shift in America. It's been a remarkable shift in terms of polls and data, and the Republicans are seeing this polls, and even internally, the Republicans are now saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" But it doesn't matter because Stephen Miller, Budget Hitler, Pee Wee German, the man who's pretty much running the show because Donald Trump is dying and farting and shitting in front of our face as he falls asleep with his mini stroke mouth. He is committed to this project, Danielle. He is all in, and this has been his wet dream since ninth grade. So that's how you get a Tom Homan being sent instead of ICE agents being taken out.
Yeah, it's I gotta say, I have not been well. And it is looking at the okay, here it is. I'm sorry. I just wanted to double check. Minnesota governor candidate. Because I think that this is really important and breaking news as of 2 hours ago. This is NBC News. Minnesota Republican drops out of governor's race, citing GOP's handling of immigration enforcement. Republican Chris Medell, Madel, said in a video posted on X that he cannot support the National Republican stated retribution on the citizens of our state.
Wow.
In a nearly 11-minute video, Medell emphasized that he supports immigration and customs enforcement's originally stated goals in their Operation Metro Surge in his state. He argued, though, that the operation, quote, has expanded far beyond its stated focus on true public safety threats. He pointed to U.S. citizens carrying papers to prove their citizenship and Hispanic and Asian law enforcement officers who says have been pulled over by ICE on pretextual stops. Medell, an attorney, also argued that the National Republicans have made it nearly impossible for a Republican to win a statewide election in Minnesota.
That's huge.
Is breaking news as of
What was his last name?
Medell, Madel.
And
Uh,
then also, I know we're going to talk about the polls and the numbers, but this is from an hour ago from Harry Enton, whom Danielle loves, CNN's
yes.
pollster. ICE, DHS, and Kristi Noem are a political disaster for Trump. This is Harry Enton's Twitter. ICE's net approval is at an all-time low, -27, and like we said, keeps falling. DHS approval is at an all-time low under Trump, 42%, was 59% at this point in term one. Noam's net approval has been negative in every poll.
I mean, I think that again, and I want to read this because I just posted it onto my Substack um a little bit ago. And the point is this, because I think that a lot of people, and you forgive me, Waj, for a moment as I just like read this post, is that a lot of people I continue to see on social media, particularly white Americans, who are rightfully outraged, right, by what has been transpiring over the last several months, particularly what has activated people is the killing of a white mother,
Yeah.
Renee Nicole Good, is the killing of Alex Preddy that we have seen on camera. What is being lost? And thank you for mentioning, because we mention it here on Democracy Ish. Over 30 people have been murdered in ICE custody in 2025. Keith Porter was the first person, American citizen, a black man, that was murdered by an off duty ICE agent. He did not begin to make any type of headlines, and his name is still readily being erased from the conversation that includes Preddy and Renee Good because he is black. And I want folks to understand that when they say, like, oh, this isn't about race, this has always been about race. It has
Always.
always been about racism. It has always been about white supremacy and systemic violence. And what I wrote on Substack is this: what's happening in America right now isn't new. It is a lifting of the veil. For Black people and Indigenous peoples living under state sanctioned oppression and violence has been the reality. Hearing lies from government officials like, quote, the officer feared for his life, or they had a weapon, or they were threatening, has been the norm to justify brutality from before Emmett Till's murder in 1955, to Fred Hampton in 1969, to Eric Gardner in 2014, to Breonna Taylor in 2020, to George Floyd in 2020, just a mile away from where Renee Good was shot dead, to Keith Porter in 2025, to countless others whose names never make headlines and whose murderers were never brought to justice. We have said that white supremacy comes for everyone. And
Yeah.
now Renee Good and Alex Preddy are receiving the same treatment by the federal government as slain innocent Black people have for centuries. Ending this cruelty and abolishing these systems is to recognize and honor the truth and mirror Black people have been trying to hold up to America. It's time for America to see itself and decide if if this is what they want. Like this is my deep pervasive feeling that I've been having as I continue to watch these stories, to watch all of the camera footage, to watch all of this. And remember that, folks, like, we have been filming incidents of violence in this country since we have had fucking phones on our cameras on our phone. And before that, Rodney King's beating was the first
That's right.
was the first videoed incident of police brutality and violence, and those cops still got off, which prompted the riots that happened in LA. And so I want people to understand that your Fabergé egg sentimentality of America is crumbling. But this is why Black people and Indigenous folks and people are looking at you. If you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. It's like, this has been fucking happening.
Yep.
It's been happening. Now it's just happening to you. And we always said that it would come here. So it is not as if Black people are like, oh, shrug. It's like, my fucking God, welcome. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the resistance. Welcome to the movement that Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the Black Panthers, and so many abolitionists and leaders have been talking about for fucking centuries. Centuries this has been going on. And so now the chickens have come home to roost, and you can't lie and pretend that America is this beacon, this light of democracy on a fucking hill, because it hasn't been for too many goddamn people. And now you have the white mother and the white male nurse to hold up as these picture perfect victims, right? Who the government is trying to tell you are terrorists. But when they told you that Black people were terrorists, when they told you that Trayvon Martin was a thug, when they told you all of these lies and stories about Black people, it was easy for you to believe, because you've been indoctrinated into believing that Black skin was criminal from birth. And I want to tell you that the reasons why this echoes so deeply in your soul is because you've always known this country has been lying to you. But to protect your privilege and your comfort, you decided to look the other way, and now you can't anymore.
No notes. I completely agree with what you said. We always want to get to reconciliation without truth, but you can't. And this country has always tried to cover up the truth to the point where we want to ban books, ban AP history, remove museum exhibits. This country would like to believe a fiction it has created for itself that comforts itself, right? The lost cause after the Civil War. Was it really about slavery? Come on now. We live in a post race society, another big con that was sold to us, not just by Republicans, but let's be honest, even by a lot of the centrists and the establishment. Right? Let's move on. I don't see the color of your skin. I don't see racism. I don't see color. I don't have a racist bone in my body. As Tim Walz said last week, this isn't who we are. As Joe Biden said throughout his presidency, this isn't who we are. And the rest of us said this is exactly who we are. Donald Trump is as American as apple pie and slavery. He is the inevitable end result of our country's fascination, fixation, and obsession with racism, violence, cruelty, and capitalism. You don't get a Donald Trump without a history of vulgarity and cruelty in America against Black and Indigenous people. You just don't. He just doesn't pop out of nowhere, Daniel. Right? And many people say, well, he's an aberration. And the rest of us say, no, he's not. There is always a Statue of Liberty welcoming immigrants to this country, welcoming those who are different to seek refuge, people like my parents and your parents. And then there's a Donald Trump trying to grab her by the pee. There's a Donald Trump on the shore with an AR-15 shooting at the immigrants. Okay, this is how it's always been. It's never been about economic anxiety. We kept saying for 10 years cultural anxiety. It was racism. And remember, for 10 years, it's economic anxiety.
Yep.
Read J.D. Vance's book, Hillbilly
Yep.
Elegy. Come on now. They just need more jobs. No, no, no. Even as they lay dying from COVID, they'll still worship the man who is willing to beat up Black and brown people for their sake. As Lyndon B. Johnson said, I'm going to paraphrase him, if you give a white man
Yep.
someone to look down at,
Yep.
hell, he'll empty his entire pockets for you. He said that in the 60s. That's white supremacy. And so this has been happening against indigenous Americans. They have been essentially a genocide against Native American people. They've been saying for years, you can't trust law enforcement, you can't trust the government. They betrayed their promises. They backed out on their treaties. Oh, these lazy indigenous Americans. Why can't they assimilate? Black people. Why can't you pull yourself up from the bootstrap? Why did Trayvon Martin wear a hoodie? Look at Mike Brown. He was a thug. He was like Hulk Hogan. Breonna Taylor, didn't her boyfriend trade drugs? Philando Castile, why did he have a gun?
Come on.
And then now, wait for it. Now they're saying Alex why did he have a gun? And now all the whites who love their Second Amendments are like, wait a second now. We're fine with you murdering Alex Preddy, but don't you dare go after his gun. How dare you criticize Alex Preddy's gun? Forget about Alex Preddy. He's dead. But his gun, damn it. His gun. We need to worship and adulate and praise his gun, even in death. You can't go after Alex Preddy's gun. For those who haven't followed, yesterday we'll give you some quotes about how Republicans even realize how terrible this is because, as we have said many, many times, if you allow your government to do to Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good and get away with it without accountability, they're going to do it to you. But let's take the DeLorean back just a year, Danielle. A year.
Mhm. Mhm.
If you're fine with your government cracking the skulls of peaceful Palestinian demonstrators, lying about Mahmoud Khalil and Rameza Osterk, kidnapping them and sending them to Louisiana, and Democrats and Republicans in this country was fine with it. And we
Mhm.
kept saying, if they can do this to them, what will they do to you? If you're fine with over 230 brown men, just by virtue of their brown skin and tattoos, being kidnapped in the middle of the night and sent to die in a foreign sea code prison where they were being tortured, and you said, meh, what are they going to do to you? If you're that Democrat who voted for the Lake and Riley Act because you're a coward and refused to fight for the rest of us, and now you're punishing undocumented immigrants, what are they going to do to you? And now that answer, Danielle, that you and I have warned about for the past year, that answer has two names, Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy. And white people saw this and they said enough. And if this is what takes white people to say enough, and if this is what takes, I try to be fair.
Mhm.
All those privileged browns and blacks and Asians I talk to, all those privileged Muslims, eh, you'll be fine. Eh, things go in waves. Eh, tax cuts. Eh, the gays, too much gay stuff. Eh, this will be okay. If they go after Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, murder them, and in death call them domestic terrorists, oh, brown cow with a Tesla who voted for Trump and thinks this will be fine, what do you think they're going to do to you and your family? Sorry, Danielle, for my rant.
No, I tell you that it is, I was in tears this morning putting the show together because I'm saying to myself, "My God, like, people don't get how long this has been going on for. And now that it is like come to your white communities. And now people are like, "Oh, but we've been good white people this whole time." No, you have been bargaining with your morality every single time you have looked away from the oppression and violence of white supremacy in both this country and abroad, right? I will say this. Ayman Mohedin put up a fantastic video on his Instagram that is a takedown of Thomas Friedman's recent article in the New York Times, where Thomas Friedman wanted to come out and say, "Oh, I have seen what is happening in America before.
In the Middle East.
I have seen it in Beirut, and I've seen it at the hands of Hamas, and I have seen these things happen before." And Ayman Mohedin said, wait a minute. He goes, I was captivated by the title of the article, so I went to go read it, thinking that, oh my God, is this the moment that we're actually going to make the comparisons and break down what the Israeli Defense Force has been doing to the people of Gaza and to the Palestinians in Israel for century, for a fucking century almost at this point? Like, are we going to break down the fact that the tactics that our tax dollars have paid for and the training that our officers get are coming from the IDF? Are we going to talk about how the IDF has mass agents that go in and brutalize and kidnap 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds, right? Are we going to talk about? And he went through the list. And he said, and if you are going to write a piece in the New York Times talking about the parallels that you see, then you cannot be purposefully fucking blind to when all of a sudden that narrative no longer corresponds to the indoctrination that your paper has been putting out as propagandic bullshit for Israel for I don't even know how long.
Danielle, that's why I'm so glad I didn't even read the article. I saw the title
Oh
yesterday
my
when I was in the New
God,
York Times,
Wash.
and I was like, "Oh, they're finally going to make the comparison to literally what's been happening to Palestinians and how Israel has trained our immigration officers and how Israel has trained the military-industrial complex and how we trade tactics on how to crush and surveil a terrorist population." Finally, Thomas Friedman's going to do. But then I saw the name Thomas Friedman, and I swear to God, Danielle, I was about to click it, and I'm like, nope,
No,
not today, Satan. Not today, Satan.
yeah,
I
not
know.
today, Satan.
I had
Yeah.
complete faith that he would not make that connection.
And what I'm saying is that he purposefully did not. And what I want to remind folks is, again, when you want to use bullshit terms like the American Taliban, and you want to use like terms like that try and associate all of a sudden like foreigners, right, with the oppression and apartheid, understand that America has always been the blueprint for fucking oppression, that the IDF got their vision, right, for their armed forces and their apartheid system from the United States. That South Africa got their apartheid system and their violent tactics from the United States, that Hitler admired what was going on in the United States at the hands of segregationists. So, folks, you can stop with your foreign fucking comparisons as if, like, oh my God, this is not, again, the America that I know. This is America has been the blueprint for violence, for oppression, and has been justified, right? Because if you have the wrong religion and the wrong complexion and a deeper melanin, then you have been allowed to be seen as a violent terrorist and the other that justifies your dehumanization. And they have used that over and over and over again. So now you see, oh, they fear. I mean, I watched that fucking bitch, Kristi Noem, say on national television, the officer feared for his life. Let me tell you something. If you are cosplaying in fucking fatigues with an AR-15, bear spray, and all of these chemical weapons attached to your body and you still fear for your life, you're in the wrong fucking profession. Because how you fear for your life against people that are either legally carrying, which you all love to tote, when it's the AR-15 carrying Kyle Rittenhouse, but when it's Alex Preddy who had a license, right, and the ability to do so, and was in his own fucking place, didn't drive across states to go in and
Just
shoot
like
down
this. All he
protesters.
did.
He was armed with his phone, and that was it. I'm telling you, folks, like, miss me with the this is not what I know. You should grieve this shit, because you should grieve the fact that you've been indoctrinated and distracted because your life has been comfortable at the expense of other people who have been at the boots print of fucking America and America exceptionalism and violence for centuries. I got to tell you, Waj, I've reached my limit. I've reached my limit with these people. I've reached my limit with the people who also just continue to say, oh, now the federal government is saying, oh, let the investigation, go through. They're changing their tune now. Oh, let the investigation play out, because I'm going to allow you to investigate yourselves and then tell me what has happened. Just
The
the same
DHS
way that we.
for those who haven't followed what's been happening, the DHS is we're gonna take over this investigation, and they've already blocked local and state investigators from accessing the evidence, which they've already also done with the murder of Renee Nicole Good. And the head of the DHS again is Kristi Noem. So yes, the murderers' bosses are gonna actually. It's like the Godfather's like, trust me, I'll investigate my own capo. I'll investigate the guy I sent to murder you. Trust me, I'll be impartial. I'll be fair. Like, are you kidding me? And what you just said, the lies, the gaslighting, the fabrication of evidence, the missing of evidence, the demonization, the defamation of the victims after death. Danielle, what has this country been doing to black folks, indigenous folks, Latinos, and Muslims? Trust us. We say they're terrorists. We're going to kill them.
Right.
Trust us. Trust us, drug dealer. Trust us. Oh, Trayvon Martin. Ooh, he was a bad egg. Trust us. Mike Brown, the 15-year-old teenager, he was like Hulk Hogan. Trust us. He was the one who was being aggressive, even though he was unarmed and going up against a white male cop. Trust us, right? George Floyd. Oh no, he was resisting arrest, and then the video came out. Oh, trust us. Rodney King. I'm sure he had a gun. Oops. Video came out. Oh, trust us. Alex Preddy. He came there for mayhem. He was a domestic terrorist. Video came out. Trust us, Renee Nicole Good was a domestic terrorist. She violently ran over the cop. Video
Come
came
on.
out. How many people, and it's a very important point that I've been trying to make all weekend too. How many people has CBP and ICE murdered over the past 20 years that you don't know about? How many people have been tortured and disappeared that you don't know about? How many people have they violently erased and then lied about and you didn't know about because there was no video and because there were brown people, Muslims, Palestinians, and black folks? How many people have they terrorized and you don't know about because you trusted your government and your government was lying to you?
Yep.
And then when black people, indigenous people, and Muslims, especially Muslims after the war on terror, that's when many Muslims woke up and like, oh, we're not white. When so many of us are like, hey, man, we don't need ICE. Oh, come on now, brown cow. We need law enforcement. Black people, maybe we should move some of these resources away from these cops and give it to, I don't know, mental health professionals. We already give an insane amount of money to, I don't know, police, and they seem to be terrorizing us and not making us safer. Now, black cow, how dare you say that? How dare you say that? Hey, maybe we shouldn't, like, I don't know, abridge the First Amendment rights of pro-Palestinian speakers, because if they can do that and silence pro-Palestinian activists, then maybe they could, I don't know, go against our First Amendment right. Are you with Hamas? I want you to apologize for chants you've never used, Zoran Mamdani. But by the way, as Chuck Schumer, I'm going to take a photo with war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu. And by the way, we're openly going to tout our friendship. We're going to give him billions of dollars to do exactly what we're doing now to white American Minneapolis, is what they're doing to Palestinians in the West Bank and in Gaza. But we're not going to make the connection because you know why? Palestinians and Muslims, they're not human. So we're going to
Exactly.
celebrate. We're going to
Exactly.
celebrate
Yep.
Israel doing literally everything that we now plan to do to white Minnesotans. Surveillance, no problem. No First Amendment rights, no Second Amendment rights, no Fourth Amendment rights. We're going to lie about them, defame them. We're going to kidnap them, torture them. Any child, a woman, a mother who stands in our way, we're just going to defame them as terrorists. We're going to crush their testicles. Tell them,
We're gonna
Danielle, what they're doing.
here's the thing, because we're gonna just run through some of the highlights. Again, a reminder of how we got here, right? And Lulu says, we know how we got here. No, I would argue that a majority of Americans don't know how we got here,
Danielle,
right?
it's because of the trans athletes.
Right. So, number one, a Supreme Court that has given the executive almost unchecked power. Remember, Joe Biden wanted to relieve student loan debt. They said, "Oh no, you've gone too far. The president can't do that. Congress has the power of the purse." But as long as there is a Republican that is deranged and deteriorating and a fucking cruel fascist lunatic is in charge, then by all means, go ham. Do whatever it is that you'd like. Number two, a broken political party system where the party in power refuses to act as a check on the executive, and a leaderless, for now, opposition, right? Oh, just FYI, who is she talking about? The Biden administration. You had the opportunity. You also had a little bit of power riding in on the high of your election wing to actually hold this fucking criminal accountable. You
Merrick
decided
Garland.
you
Merrick
decided not to.
Garland.
Poetic
Merrick
justice.
Garland.
You wanted to appoint Merrick Garland, and activated an angry civilian population that has no trust in institution. Who sowed the seeds of distrust? Who told you to begin not to trust your government? And now we know for certain you absolutely cannot fucking trust this administration, because they are telling you, don't believe your lying eyes, believe the words that are coming out of our mouths. So Trump says he's reviewing it. Sure. Okay.
Sure.
Mob boss investigating his own. We get it. Kristi Noem goes on television. She says, here CNN reports multiple DHS officials, because this is the news that is coming out all morning. CNN reports multiple DHS officials are furious over how Kristi Noem handled the Alex Preddy shooting. After watching the video, officials say her public claims don't match what Americans can see with their own eyes. One DHS official to CNN, the department needs a law enforcement leader, not a psycho fan, right? Then, as Waj alluded to, the latest polls from one of the conservative pollsters, August 2025, Donald Trump's handling of immigration was +9, 53% approved of it, +9. January 2026, Donald Trump is -20, -20. 59% of Americans disapprove. You know why?
That's a Rasmussen poll, folks. That
Yeah,
is about as MAGA as it gets.
because they don't like watching people die on their phones who were helping minutes before being shot, being executed. Because here is the thing, too, about the Alex Preddy murder is that it wasn't just a murder.
Nope.
Right? And this is why it's so fucking hard to stomach, because it was an execution, much in the same way that George Floyd was executed in broad daylight, had the life squeezed out of him. Alex Preddy was disarmed. Those fucking idiots, because they are undertrained, also, accidentally, as they're discharging him of his gun, discharge the actual gun. And because they are so fucking undertrained, and I believe that that is too on purpose.
Can I say,
Please.
I don't think, yes, they're undertrained, um, but they're also trained to behave exactly like this. They're
Exactly.
doing their job, folks, and that's what people don't want to realize. They're behaving exactly as they were designed to behave. And Jen Butt has said the same thing, senior border patrol agent who resigned and is a whistleblower. They're behaving exactly as they have always behaved, as they're trained to behave. This is the culture of quote unquote immigration enforcement. The rape, the torture, the assault against minors, the cruelty. In the past month, I've said this before, I'll say it again. This Trump administration has spent millions of dollars in their words, not mine, wartime recruitment, getting thousands of ICE agents from the dregs of society and further undertrained them, Danielle. Even they had used to have like a basic floor of training. They've reduced that
No, they've
floor.
reduced
So
it.
now
Yeah.
you have just cosplay crusaders who want to crack skulls, being given even less training and a signing bonus and a gun and, according to JD Vance, absolute immunity and a mask, and now they can openly terrorize people. They're behaving exactly as they were designed to behave, which is why we've been against them for 2 decades. Sorry, Daniel, go ahead.
And what is this all leading to? What is the actual point of what is happening? Marjorie Taylor Greene, even a broken, deranged clock is right twice a day. And here is Marjorie Taylor Greene. You're all being incited into civil war.
That's right.
That is what she posted. She went on this rant on her Twitter account. And she said, I impeach Biden's Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. Those are my articles of impeachment that passed in the House of Representatives. I unapologetically believe in border security and deporting criminal illegal aliens, and I support law enforcement. However, I also unapologetically support the Second Amendment. Legally carrying a firearm is not the same as brandishing a firearm. I support Americans' First and Fourth Amendment rights. There is nothing wrong with legally, peacefully protesting and video. MAGA consider it like this. And then she went on, shockingly, to break down and say, what if it had been? And she goes through, what if Alex Preddy had been a MAGA protester, right? And now the Biden administration had come out and said all of the things, all of the lies. What would you be saying and doing now? And she urged them to lift their political blindfolds that she herself had put on. She herself had put on and had continued to spread the lies of Donald Trump and carry the water for Donald Trump and hailed Kyle Rittenhouse a fucking hero. She herself.
But Daniel, goes back to your point in the beginning, and a lot of people in the YouTube channel and comments are asking, well, what happened to MTG? It's a very good question. As Danielle said, and we refuse to gaslight you about MTG. She is trash. Even a white trash clock is right twice a day. No disrespect to. I'm not talking about poor white folks. I'm talking about her as being a trash human being.
Like
Once,
a dumpster.
yeah. Once Trump turned on her, what
Mhm.
happened to MTG? The same mob she created, that she
Yep.
fed chump to, turned on her. She's openly said, they went after me and my family, and I got death threats. Once their personal comfort
Yep.
was threatened, then all of a sudden, Danielle, she saw with eyes wide open the
Mhm.
movement that she helped create. I'm going to take it a step further based on your point.
Mhm.
Once this monster was unleashed on white America and killed white Americans, then eyes wide open for so many privileged people, including those who are non whites, were like, oh, this is the monster that we fed, nurtured, armed, funded, and created. We tolerated it as long as it was being used to crack and crush black and brown skulls. Oh, they're coming after us now. And that's why. That's the only reason why Marjorie Taylor Greene has had to her alleged road to Damascus moment, is because Trump turned on her, the base turned on her, and her family got death threats, Daniel.
Yes. And because she is so fucking weak, she decided to put her tail in between her legs, take her $25 million that she extorted. So, by the way, Donald Trump today or yesterday wanted to take to his broke down social media account, talking about the fraud in Minnesota that they're investigating, right? And investigating Congresswoman, which he put in quotes, Ilhan Omar, about how she came from Somalia with nothing and then now has a net worth of $44 million, none of which I know
Yeah,
is,
he did this today.
yeah, today, none of which I know is to be true. Here's the thing. MTG, FYI, came into Congress with a net worth of $700,000 and is walking out 6 years later. 6 years later with
20 million?
25 million fucking dollars. So you want to talk about getting over on, right? You can't applaud, right? Black people from coming from a war torn country and like building your life up and how that is a part of the American dream. No, you don't want to investigate Marjorie Taylor Greene. You don't want to investigate Tom Homan's bag of fucking cash, but you want to investigate Black people for not remaining broke and broken. Yeah, got it. We see you.
But
So
it's not working. It's the lies are so egregious now. And the lies that we've talked about, they're so egregious because they're so aggressively gaslighting us because they have so much faith in their cult, and they're so incestuous in their cult, because that's what happens with power, Daniel. We've talked about it often. Once you get too powerful, you get too lazy, and you think the rest of the world is the sycophants that you surround themselves with. And then you realize, oh, wait, not everyone is a white nationalist. Not everyone laughs at Nazi slogans. Not everyone will celebrate the murder of Alex Preddy, but my base is. Oh, these groypers I hang around with, they think this is awesome, right? They think that the rest of us will take it, but they now are realizing in real time people don't being lied to their face when we clearly have video evidence, multiple videos showing the execution and murder of Renee Good and also Alex Preddy. And furthermore, the distraction is so shameful because literally whatever they accuse the rest of us of doing, they're doing. The same day Donald Trump decides to attack Ilhan Omar again and accuse her of fraud, he they're so stupid too, which is a blessing for us. They decided to appoint Tom Homan, the border czar, to go to Minneapolis. Now, Danielle, you know what? They forgot that the rest of us remember Tom Homan still has not explained why he was caught on
he
camera taking
doesn't,
bribes.
but he
They
doesn't
don't
need to.
care.
He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to
Exactly.
explain. And so
Exactly.
here is Maria
Y-
Bartiromo on Fox News, folks. I just want you to take a listen because she's like, wait, huh? And this is somebody that is a fucking moron. So just take a listen.
Another individual is dead at the
Ugh.
hands of Border Patrol. Let's be clear. We do not know if there was any pushback from this individual who was armed. We do not have evidence that he was waving a gun, doing anything to threaten Border Patrol. He had his phone and he was shooting, he was viewing and recording the incident. That's what he was doing, recording the incident. What is your reaction? And you are an elected official. What can you do about it?
I'm not listening to his reaction because his reaction was bullshit. But I wanted you all to hear her on Fox to a Republican elected official say, and she had to stop herself because she's like, I didn't want to confuse the audience by saying he was holding a phone and shooting, right? She's like, no, he was holding a phone, shooting, recording what was happening, not brandishing a weapon, which is like clearly obvious that he wasn't brandishing a weapon, right? So this is Fox fucking News.
But Danielle, it's even bigger than that because it's not just Fox. Maria Bartiromo is an unhinged MAGA cultist. So once you've lost an unhinged MAGA cultist like Maria on Fox, even though, folks, to be fair, the New York Times did an analysis and they said overwhelmingly Fox is parroting the administration's lies. But even in Fox now, and even with a cultist, there is a major crack on live television.
And then, because of these cracks that are happening, here is JD Vance. Wash, please do us the honor of what JD Vance came out and said. And I'm just going to post the responses.
When I was in Minneapolis, I heard a number of crazy stories, but near the top of the list, a couple of off-duty ICE and CBP officers were going to dinner in Minneapolis. They were doxxed and their location revealed, and the restaurant was then mobbed. The officers were locked in the restaurant, and local police refused to respond to their pleas for help. Eventually, their fellow federal agents came to their aid. This is just a taste of what's happening in Minneapolis because state and local officials refuse to cooperate with immigration enforcement. They have created the chaos so they can have moments like yesterday where someone tragically dies and politicians get to grandstand about the evils of enforcing the border. The solution is staring everyone in the face. Mary Erica Kirk. Sorry. I love Usha. I hope authorities in Minneapolis stop this madness.
Okay. And this is just some folks that are like, your solution is to tell Americans, obey the invasion of our communities by mass government agents as they abduct people and execute Americans in the street, or else we also will get executed. That's not a solution. It's a violation of our rights. You are a tyrant. David Hogg. Here's Brian Krasenstein. Any ICE agent who kills someone should have their name reported publicly. If anyone knows the killer's name, send me a message.
Yeah, it's not doxing. I refuse to call it doxing. I call it transparency.
Here's Brandon Wolf. Comply or die isn't freedom. It's fascism. Yes, that is absolutely right. But that is what they absolutely believe you should do. Here is this other fucking idiot on Fox News. Ducey, I'm telling you, it's like, a little whiff of sanity came in. It's brief there, because they enforce like the air in Fox to make you so lightheaded and stupid. But here it is. Ducey says, if he was disarmed, talking about Alex Preddy, is it protocol to use deadly force? Translation: they took his gun and then presumably shot him in the back of the head and then an additional 9 times. Is that normal protocol for DHS? Here's Kristi Noem's fucking response. That's all part of this investigation. They clearly feared for their lives. 5 agents were beating the shit out of Alex Preddy before they shot him 10 times. Did they look like, when they were beating the shit out of him, Waj, like they were fearing for their lives? Were they cowering at the phone?
It's the desperation and the cruelty of this administration, and like I said before, the fact that they are so surrounded by reeks and sycophants that they think any bullshit that they sling to their base, the base will take. But sometimes, Daniel, as we see with the murder of Alex Preddy, sometimes the bullshit is even too much for the base. Sometimes when you shovel shit in their mouth and say it tastes like whipped cream, they're like, I think a little shit gun in here. And that's what you're witnessing right now. I think there's some shit sprinkles on this whipped cream, and like, shut up, eat the shit. And a few of them are like, no, I think accidentally some shit got in here. And that's what you're seeing right now is these cracks. And going back to the point that you made, it's the fact that it's so egregious, so blatant, so shameless, the lies back to back with the lies of Renee Nicole Good, right? If you do it once, it's a mistake. If you do it twice, it's a strategy. Now they're realizing, oh, this is the strategy. They're lying, they're covering it up, they're lying to our faces. And I saw it. Like, even some hardcore Trump supporters are like, no, 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 bro. I saw the video. That's too much. They took the gun away. He was cowering. They were beating him up, and then they shot him 10 times. And you're saying that he was a threat? What? And then you go against the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, folks, because I just want to remind you, a couple of days ago, AP covered it. Should be bigger news. A whistleblower showed the report in which ICE agents are now being instructed to ignore and or not even get a judicial warrant to barge into people's homes. So that means they can literally go into your home and drag out your family members. There goes the Fourth Amendment. You can't even, according to them, film them, even though according to DHS policy, Danielle, that they have put out, you are allowed to record ICE. You're allowed to talk back to them. You're allowed to use foul language. You're allowed to witness them. All of that, according to DHS, is perfectly fine. And now they're saying, oh, no, no, you interfere, you die. That goes to the First Amendment. And then they're saying, wait for it, you shouldn't bring a gun. You shouldn't bring a gun to a protest, even if you're a legal permit carrier like Alex Preddy was. And that, Danielle, was a step too far for the right wing, because I don't know if you've seen it. The right wing has lost its mind over that Second Amendment comment that they've made. So First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, gone just like that. So ICE, a masked agency that terrorize Americans, can continue killing you. And that, Danielle, might be a step too far for white America.
Well, you want to hear what Todd Blanche said when he was on television yesterday? Because I'm going to play this clip where apparently some people remember that they're an actual journalist and that they can do this thing called follow-up questions.
Oh, yeah, pushback.
So let's take a listen to Todd Blanche and how he exposed how fucking dumb he is yesterday.
You're saying he wasn't protesting peacefully, and yet the video before shows him holding up a cell phone, directing traffic. The video after shows him being pummeled by these law enforcement. Everyone has now seen this video across the country with this man holding up a cell phone. And part of the outrage that people are expressing is that they feel as though the federal government is asking them to believe something that they don't see with their own two eyes. Is that what the administration is asking of the American people, to believe that he was violent, when the video, based on what everyone has seen so far, does not show that?
Yes.
Well, first of all, I did not say he was violent. I said he was not protesting peacefully. And you just described what every American has seen, which is video shortly ahead of the incident, where he was screaming in the face of ICE. He had a phone up right to the right into ICE's face. You tell me, is that protesting peacefully?
Yes.
Yes,
According to
actually.
DHS's own policy, yes.
And also, he wasn't screaming. In the videos that I saw, there was no screaming. He literally, and this is why I want to say that these motherfuckers have told on themselves one too many times, is because when Kristi Noem said he was brandishing a weapon, I honestly believe that this is what, like, this is how they see this phone. This is how they see. This is why those ICE agents rounded up the eyewitnesses and brought them to a detention center. Tell me why you would need to round up witnesses, right, and bring them to a detention center. I'll tell you what my hunch is, so that you can destroy evidence. I'll tell you why ICE agents were barring local officials from securing the crime scene, because you don't want to be implicated in the crime that was witnessed by people in broad fucking daylight. So, folks, they believe that your phone is absolutely a weapon, because I will tell you, and I believe that it was Malcolm X that said, right, that the state, the government will kill you, and the papers will make you believe that you attributed to your own death. I'm going to find the quote and I'm going to pull it out, because he said that back in the 1960s. And I'm telling you, this is what they're doing without video recording. What do you believe that Kristi Noem, J.D. Vance, and Stephen Miller and Dan Bovino would be saying right now?
Well, I don't have to believe it. I know it because they've already said it. They'd say that Alex Preddy was a domestic terrorist who came there to cause mayhem, and he was not being peaceful, and he came there armed, and you should not come to a rally or a protest, even if you have a legal permit. Even though Kyle Rittenhouse was allowed to shoot and kill two people and walk around with his gun, but that was then, and he was white, and he killed people at a BLM rally. They already said that Renee Nicole Good was a domestic terrorist who was trained to weaponize her car, and that her wife should be investigated, not Officer Ross. So we don't have to imagine anything, Danielle. They're doing it in real time. And again, going back to our point, if there wasn't video, they would have been allowed to get away with it. Just like they've been allowed to slander Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor, Philando Castile, and on. George Floyd now, folks, they've been slandering George Floyd for years, and there's been a movement on the right wing to then get the pardon for Derek Chauvin, the officer who murdered him. If you haven't, by the way, guess who was one of the people who continued slandering George Floyd and actually mobilized his huge influential base to try to get a pardon for Chauvin? And when we take a guess, Charlie Kirk,
Yeah.
who Ezra Klein said was doing politics
The right way. And just FYI, here is the quote, two quotes from Malcolm X. The media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent. If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. And just again, why is video so fucking important? Why are the leaks that are coming out so goddamn important? Here is video that came out last night. A video has leaked from an immigration detention center believed to be at 31 Hopkins Plaza in Baltimore, Maryland, where legal immigrants are not even allowed to bathe for over 10 days. The person speaking Spanish is saying the following: look at how they have us here. Look at how immigration is treating us. There are people here who are legal. There are people who are not legal. There are people who are losing their families. They are kidnapping us. They have us in a warehouse here in Baltimore. They beat us. They beat an older man. We cannot take it anymore. They have kept us here for more than 10 days without bathing and enduring hunger. This is on video, folks. This is on video. You don't have to wonder what is happening behind these closed doors in these detention centers where they are refusing access of congressional leaders, of clergy members, right? I want to tell you, it also gets fucking worse. Children and women chanting, "Let us out," at the Dilley concentration center that Trump has set up in Texas, as they apparently wear color-coded jackets. It's like a scene from The Handmaid's Tale or the 1930s Germany. It gets worse. Waj, please, because you mentioned it earlier.
And also, speaking about Dilley, there's a video. It's chilling, where there's reporters outside of the detention center, and they recorded the laments and screams of children. Children. So there's so many children there that behind closed walls, the reporters who are standing outside recording could hear children at this. Can you go back to that the last slide, please? Right there on the outside of that concentration camp. Let's just call it for what it is in Dilley. You can hear children. Uh, Speaking about how this has all happened before, and it is happening now, and we turned a blind eye, and it was perfectly fine when it was Black people, Native Americans, Muslims, and Palestinians. It isn't just domestic, folks. We are learning from authoritarians abroad that we fund and support. And specifically, what we're learning is how they control the local population, how they keep them, Danielle, in check, how they deal with quote unquote terrorists. The ICE is sexually abusing males in their custody by grabbing and bursting their testicles, according to the ACLU. His right front tooth broke, and he said one officer, quote, grabbed my testicles and firmly crushed them, while another, quote, forced his fingers deep into my ears. He added that weeks after the beating, damage to his left ear was so severe that he now has trouble hearing. Extreme and unlawful use of force is also prominent at Fort Bliss. Several detained individuals have described violent assaults by officers, including sexual abuse. Ignacio, Samuel, and others reported officers crushing their testicles during beatings, a tactic used while people were already restrained or after they refused coerced removal to Mexico. Abel Benjamin and Eduardo also reported being slammed, stomped on, or beaten when they expressed fear of being sent to Mexico or when they simply requested their medication. These are not isolated incidents. They reflect a pattern of brutality that violates even ICE's minimal standards. It's also a pattern of brutality that is used in Israel against Palestinians. And specifically, the reason why they crush the testicles of men is not only as a form of torture, but also as a form of sterilization because they don't want these men to procreate. And now this is what's happening in America because, as we know, DHS has already at least 3 times tweeted remigrate. Remigrate is a white supremacist term, Danielle, for what? Ethnic cleansing. What? The forcible removal of brown, black, and Asian people from white America. So Qasim Rashid, who was on yesterday with me, he said, I think I can make the case that this is an ethnic cleansing campaign, that what we're witnessing in America meets or can meet the term of genocide because they want the forced, deliberate, intentional removal of black and brown people from America. And this is just yet another example, the crushing of testicles, sterilizing men that they want to eliminate the rest of us. And what else is remigration, Danielle? If not a white supremacist term that literally, Danielle, calls for the ethnic cleansing of all people of color from white Europe and white America.
And let me just go even a step further that the tactics that are being used were used during slavery. The tactics being used were always used during lynching. The lynching, the slave holders that these people are descendants of would cut off the member of black man's bodies. Okay? Right? They would cut open the pregnant stomachs of black women, killing both the babies and then murdering the mothers. They used black babies as bait for alligators. Folks, when you say that this kind of tactic, this violence is unheard of, this is barbarian, this too is America. They are resurrecting what never went away. You don't know about it because they have spent centuries erasing and whitewashing their fucking criminal, violent, brutal thugs that founded this nation on the backs and the blood of black people. These tactics that you are now hearing about, that the ACLU is reporting on, this isn't something that the Trump regime learned from the president of El Salvador and CCOT. This isn't something that they learned from Hamas and ISIS. No. They learned it from their own fucking people. When they talk about the homegrowns, this is who the fuck I'm talking about.
I agree.
America founded on domestic terrorism, brutality, rape, and torture.
Tim Wise, do you have that quote from Tim Wise? The reason folks want to ban Black history courses and censor museums is so you won't see the parallels between what they did after Reconstruction and what they're doing now. As we've mentioned before on the show, Gestapo is a fantastic example. Yes, Nazi Germany is a fantastic example, but you don't have to cross the Atlantic. You can just stay home in America. These were the slave patrols. This was Jim Crow. This was the judiciary, state police, federal police, the jury of white folks who used to go to church and then put on the hood. This is what Black people had to endure. And furthermore, not just Black people, those white allies who helped Black folks during the civil rights movement were called, wait for it, race traitors. And they were killed by these same white racists. And in Murder and Death, they celebrated their murder, saying, well, they got what they deserved. And look how they're talking about Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good.
You know, folks, and we'll close out. There's just so much that is disgusting and heartbreaking. And I do want to close out with some little spots of light, which is that things have gotten so egregious, so disturbing that those people who have enormous platforms, celebrities and athletes, are beginning to speak out,
Yeah.
right? To speak out and to say what needs to be said.
Oh, I'm glad you put that. I was gonna go there.
So,
Great.
one of my faves, because everybody knows who watches the Danielle Moodie show, I'm a huge WNBA fan.
I knew Danielle wouldn't
I'm a
resist. I'm like,
huge
I didn't even have to
WNBA
put that.
fan. Brianna Stewart. Stewie is one of my fucking favorite players for the New York Liberty and is the co-founder of Unrivaled, the women's 3-on-3, which is on right now. They play in the off season, and she, before heading out to play over the weekend, held up a sign, abolish ICE, and then went on to talk about what ICE has been doing in and how, like, it is something that can't be ignored. Her wife is an immigrant. She is a queer woman with children, and is speaking out. She's always spoken out, and the WNBA, for as little as they are paid, have always put their voices and their activism forward, for forever, right? You have Tyrese Halliburton. Alex Preddy was murdered. He posted on social media. Angel Reese, another WNBA player, praying for our country. You have Chris Finch, the coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Steve Kerr, the Golden State Warriors head coach. Steph Curry, who came out and addressed what was happening.
Yep.
You had Aaron Parnes had like a list, you know, from Janelle Monáe to Olivia Rodrigo to other celebrities
Did you
that
see
have
Natalie Portman?
Natalie Portman,
she went pretty hard there.
that have been posting videos, posting messages. This is what I hope, what I pray, Waj, are cracks in this dam that have allowed people to look away for too fucking long and pretend that these things weren't happening, that we could just keep our heads down and just make it through, power through these 4 years as we did in 2017 in Donald Trump's first term, and that everything would be okay. Everything is not fucking okay.
You know, and the fact that you have these people speaking out, which is great. I watched the Warriors game yesterday. Warriors were playing at Minnesota. I mean, it was a strange game. They were playing at Minnesota against the Timberwolves. And in the beginning of the game, they did a tribute to Alex Preddy, and it was silent. And towards the end of the tribute, someone yelled out "F Ice," and then the entire crowd said "F Ice." The city's done. The state is done. Minnesota is the battleground, folks. They're deliberately going after Minnesota because Minnesota is also where George Floyd was murdered, a mile away from Renee Nicole Good. Minnesota is also where Governor Tim Walz, with the slim Democratic majority, implemented some progressive change. Minnesota is also the home of Somali refugees. Minnesota is also where Ilhan Omar is an elected official. Minnesota is where Renee Nicole Good was murdered. Minnesota is where Alex Preddy was murdered. Minnesota has been tested. Minnesota knows how to organize. Minnesota knows how to rally. Minnesota knows how to come together. If they can make an example out of Minnesota, and if they can crush the resistance in Minnesota, that emboldens this administration to then go deploy the same tactics in Chicago, in Portland, in
Now
New
in Maine,
Jersey, in New York, in Maine, in California. And if they can crush the resistance in Minnesota, they say, hey, that means we can crush the resistance everywhere. We can crush all these blue cities and blue states. We can take their voter rolls, as Pam Bondi demanded just a couple of days ago in her letter to Governor Walz. They're telling you right in the open, it's nothing about immigration enforcement. They want to take over. They want permanent control. What me and Danielle have been saying for the past couple of years is this is a far-right authoritarian fascist movement. If they cannot cheat their way to permanent power, they're going to go for the Insurrection Act and martial law. So this is why you have to stand up for Minnesota. This is why your Tesla won't protect you, your zip code won't protect you, your complexion for the protection, your white skin, your light skin won't protect you. You being the token minority in your corporate group won't protect you. You
Come
drinking
on.
rosé with Karen won't protect you. You golfing with Chet won't protect you. You living in the suburbs won't protect you. If they can do this to Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, two white individuals who are unarmed, and then lie about it and cover it up to our faces, what will they do to you and your family? And finally, I think people have woken up, Danielle. Oh my God, they're doing this against white folks. That means they could do it against me and my family. And I'll end on this with a call. Someone asked me this in the YouTube comments, so I hope you don't mind, Danielle. Someone said, "Waj, what was the litmus test that you have?" I've been talking about
Oh,
my litmus
please
test.
go run through it again.
This is my litmus test. I'm not saying these are all the issues. There's a whole bunch of issues, but my litmus test, my floor. This is just my floor for any Democrat running, in no specific order. I know you've begun the memo on affordability. I'm not that dumb. I want you to talk about affordability and accountability. If you're not mentioning affordability and accountability, I know you won't hold any of these people accountable. I know you're going to spin the wheel and recreate the system. I want affordability and accountability. Accountability. Abolish ICE. If you're not saying abolish ICE or dismantle ICE, I'm done with you. Because what you're saying, like those 7 House Democrats, is you're perfectly fine with me and Danielle dying as long as your family doesn't die.
Yep.
And if you're telling me that that's my only choice, that I'd rather have a Jared Golden than a Republican, I'd rather have a Henry Cuellar than a Republican. What's the difference between a Democrat and a Republican when they both vote for the same organization that kills and murders my family? Number 3, if you claim that you have the ability to fight fascism at home, but you still support fascism and genocide abroad, I'm done with you. If you're still bear hugging AIPAC and Netanyahu and their war crimes against Palestinians, that shows me you're not going to fight for fascism at home. I'm done with you. 4, go against the oligarchy. Go against the 1%. Identify the enemy. The floor, tax the billionaires. If you're unwilling to support tax the billionaires, I know who pays you. I know you're not a representative of the people. I know you're a reek of the 1%. I'm done with you. And then finally, number 5, if you are willing to throw Palestinians, activists, Black people, Somalians, Haitians, trans students under the bus, that means you'll throw me under the bus tomorrow.
Come on.
And that's why I'm going to be paying attention to who you throw under the bus, Gavin Newsom. I'm going to be paying attention, Elisa Slotkin, when you said you don't want to be woke. If you're going to throw Danielle under the bus, you're going to throw me under the bus tomorrow. If you're going to throw me under the bus tomorrow, you're going to throw a white person on the bus the next day. That's my litmus test. And I will use whatever power that I have, and I have no delusions of grandeur, Danielle, that I will mock these people, shame these people, go after these people by name. I'm talking about you, Klobuchar. I'm talking about you, Senator Klobuchar, who yesterday said ICE needs to get out of Minnesota. So what? They can go kill people in New Jersey? No, you useless, feckless piece of crap.
Come on.
I want you to hear it say abolish ICE, right? Gavin Newsom, you're right. Ben Shapiro, you're right. The 2 people who run my social media account, who are the 2 people that everyone actually loves, they shouldn't have said state-sponsored terrorism. And you're right. I don't think Israel committed a genocide. And I'm not going to tax the rich. I'm done with you. I'm on to you, Gavin Newsom. All these cowards who are refusing to say abolish ICE, even when all the polls in 1 week have turned in your direction, Danielle, I'm done with you. And I pray everyone who's watching, I know we got to go. You deserve better. Demand more than crumbs, and demand more than these centrist Democrats who are Vichy Democrats who are perfectly fine supporting an armed mass terrorist organization to come kill our families. Why is that A-okay with you? Danielle, sorry for my rant.
No, and I will close out with this. This is the litmus test y'all should be adopting, because you should never be okay and comfortable with anyone being targeted and thrown under the bus, because any politician that is comfortable going after trans students, that is comfortable going after college students protesting against Israel, that is comfortable going against our constitutional rights, but cherry picking who is the low hanging fruit that they can put up and target, understand that they will always come for you. That is the point. That is the goal. And so you cannot be comfortable that when, oh, they started attacking black and brown people, well, thank God I'm white. When they started attacking trans people, well, thank God, I'm cis. They start attacking queer people, well, thank God I'm straight. They start attacking Muslim people, well, thank God I'm a Christian, right? Folks, they will always turn on you.
Always.
We've been on a slippery slope, okay? The slope is so deluged with water. We are under fucking water, right? It's not slippery anymore. And so the fact is, we have reached our breaking point, right? We have reached our breaking point, and we are going to see more murder and more death and more abuses. And folks, it shouldn't fucking matter whether it was a mother of three or an undocumented fucking farmer. It shouldn't matter whether it was a armed individual or an unarmed individual, because in this country, we have fucking rights. Right?
Right.
And in this country, states supposedly have states' rights. So I don't give a fuck if somebody was armed or unarmed, right? Or if they're holding up a phone in somebody's face, or they're filming from 20 feet away. You have rights here. And once you allow these motherfuckers to erode them and to erase them, understand you are giving up your liberties. You are giving up in the audacious lie that somehow it'll keep you safe. It isn't.
Fascists
So
come for everyone. At
they
the end of
come
the
for
day,
everyone.
fascists come for each other because they run out of enemies, folks. That's the playbook. It never changes. Fascists come for everyone. And in Minnesota, they've come for a white mom, as Danielle said, Renee Nicole Good, and they've come for a white nurse who spent his life helping veterans, Alex Preddy. And if they can murder Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy and in death defame them, what will they do to you? Danielle, shamelessly promote yourself. I've put the
Yeah.
links to your
Oh, I
Substack, but
appreciate
tell
you,
them,
my
tell
friend.
them what else.
Yes. So the Danielle Moodie Show is back live tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube and on my Substack. I am running a promotion for Substack until the end of the month. It is 20% off. So, folks, it is daniellemoodie.substack.com/New Year sale, and that is 20% off. But you know that all of our content is free. And which is why we say we are people powered. So these super stickers and super thanks that folks like Jimmy and Design and MK have put up. Today, we are people powered. Every dollar counts. I run a paid membership again on the channel for those that want to support monthly instead of with super stickers, like Jen has just become a 2-month member of this channel. Kathy, thank you for the super stickers. Storm, Ghostface
Thank
Killer,
you
as
all.
always.
Thank you.
Lucy, Megan for the $49.99. Amation for the $9.99. Real Talk $2. Bonnie, Mr. Willis again with $9.99. Yeah, Real Talk with $5. In the Middle of Nowhere became a member for 2 months. Jaren, Gabrielle, you guys have been incredible. And Henry with the $20. In the Middle with 10. We appreciate you. It's why we continue to show up, regardless of how hard this continues to be for all of us. Our fantastic moderator, Susan, just gifted a membership to my channel. Waj, please promote yourself and what you have coming up in 9 minutes.
Actually, you knew that. That's very good. 9 minutes. We have Leah Greenberg, who's one of the co-executive directors of Indivisible. Ezra has been on the show, but he's really sick, so his partner in crime, Leah's on, and they're going to talk about what they have planned for today, the mass mobilization to try to activate people to resist ICE. They're also the folks who helped in part co-organize the No Kings rally. So she's going to be on in 8 minutes about actual tactics and solutions and what people are doing on the ground. Leah Greenberg's going to be on the left hook. Like Danielle, we have the Terrible Capitalist special, the left hook 25% off New Year's special, $3.75 forever. In the next 5 days, if you become a paid subscriber. Everything is free. There are no paywalls to my YouTube channel, Danielle's YouTube channel, our Substack. No, everything's free. So we depend on the kindness and charity of strangers. So if you can, if you've been watching us and you're like, you know what, I want to support these guys, $33.75 a month, which translates to $38 a year, which is a great deal. Just become a subscriber, and it's the link. Use the link that we sent. It's the lefthook.substack.com/special. And someone said, but I signed up. I didn't get the link. Sometimes people don't use the link. They use the other link. So use that link in particular and make sure the box is clicked. And it says, do you want the 25% off? You say yes.
Yes.
And you get, yes, yes, I do. And you're like, and you get it's $3.75 forever. So if you do it in the next 5 days, it's $3.75 forever. And that's what helps us do this. I have Leah on at 1:30, and then I have a really, really good another guest at 3 p.m. Garrett Graff wrote this really great piece on Wired, came out 3 days ago. And it's literally like everything me and Danielle have been saying. I'm like, Garrett, did you read like what we were saying? And he said, I know it's a really great piece on Wired. I don't know if you saw this, Danielle. It's called We're Witnessing the Self-Immolation of a Superpower. And he's a historian. And he starts off the whole essay saying, you know what? If what we've said in 2 weeks on this show, what happens if China and Russia were to imagine the best way to destroy America without firing a bullet? I'm like, Garrett, were you watching our show? So Garrett, as a historian, just goes down in a very sad, depressing way about how Donald Trump has essentially self-immolated America and a way out of it. That's at 3 p.m.
3 p.m. Amazing. So, folks, continue to stay engaged, continue to support independent media. If you have the inability to provide any type of monetary resources, we just ask, like, comment, subscribe, share. That's it. Feed the algorithm. That's it. That's why we keep our content free, but we appreciate every single one of you. Go watch Waj now on the Left Hook. Come back over here at 5 p.m. for me and watch him at 3 p.m. also on the Left Hook. We will be back Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern for our midweek check-in. God knows what fresh hell will be waiting for us by then, but we'll be there. We appreciate you all. Be well. Take care of yourselves emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And please, oh, please, do not be a fascist.